All right, so it's kind of Harsanyi Palooza today on the Buck Sexton Show, but we haven't talked to David Harsanyi in a while. He's National Review senior writer. I want to get your take, and then I'll just tell the audience what I'm thinking after we let you go and enjoy your coffee and hang out the rest of the day. What are you expecting here for the Democrat debate tonight? I mean, the big story as I see it right now is all of a sudden Buttigieg is like a thing. Buttigieg is actually getting some traction in places where people have to pay attention.
Yeah, I think so, but I think that that's also because a manifestation of concern within the Democratic Party about their candidates. They're looking for someone a little more moderate who isn't, over 70, I guess, or isn't, doesn't have all the faults of a long history. But the thing is, no one really knows Mayor Pete very well, and I think once you start pointing out his problems, his city is not in great shape. His city, there have been a lot of problems there with race and other stuff. So
a really high murder rate. We're on a great station out in Indiana, and I talked to some folks when I was out there recently for a visit, and I got to tell you, I was like shocked to hear that South Bend, Indiana, has a really high murder rate per capita.
Right, and they've had some shootings where police shootings that are problematic, et cetera, et cetera. Now, those are things Democratic voters care about, so I'm not sure that this kind of popularity will last, but maybe he will withstand it and be wonderful and move forward. I don't know. We'll see about that. I tend to think he's overrated. I find him to be sanctimonious and annoying, but, I don't really have my pulse on the...
Well, I think you're right about the sanctimonious thing, especially when he's lecturing people on theology. I find that really...
I can't take it.
I can't
I'm an atheist.
I can't take
I can't
it
even
either.
handle it.
He is really smug on that stuff, and has a lot of time. He's getting way beyond his knowledge base on that stuff. But I wanted to sort of touch on how it seems that the Democratic Party now more than ever, and this is mostly through the prism of Warren and Bernie's candidacies, but it seems like there is not just an open embrace of socialism, but trashing capitalism in the most cynical and ignorant way is really popular among the Democrats these days.
It is, and unfortunately, I think it's getting to be popular among some conservatives as well. I think what you have is, so much success. People have been afforded so many freedoms and so many great things that maybe new generations don't put that success into the context it's supposed to be in. And so I worry about that. Though I have to say I'm slightly heartened that the Democratic Party sort of moved away from Warren pretty quickly once she embraced really big socialistic plans. I think that there's still, I hope at least, a moderate center that doesn't want to fully, embrace those sorts of ideas, collectivist ideas or socialistic ideas. But unfortunately, I think when you look at polling, young people are always more open to those ideas, and that's I think there are a bunch of reasons I won't get into, but I think that's incredibly dangerous for us moving forward. Maybe the most dangerous.
I've been saying, and of course, you should always be one should always be careful with predictions of a political nature where you're certain. But I just cannot fathom a future in which Joe Biden is actually. The audience is sick of me saying this. I'm like, it's not going to be Biden. It can't. Are you? Do you think it could be Biden? I mean, am I talking crazy talk?
Let me ask you this: when Donald Trump was running initially, did you think he could win?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I was sure he would not win. I mean, I've had to admit that many times.
So me too, until the last moment, until I saw that New York Times page with the little lever going up. But
when he won Florida, it was like the entire world all of a sudden changed.
Yeah, everything changed forever. But here's the thing that I think a similar thing can happen here, where you have a right-left divide, and people are sort of knocking each other out. And if no one else, sort of an outsider candidate, and I doubt there's anything like that available, Michael Bloomberg, whatever, I don't think that he has that kind of appeal. I just don't see why the Democrats wouldn't land on what they think is the surest bet to win, which would be Joe Biden. I think they overrate him as a politician because before Obama saved him, I mean, he was the Delaware senator. He's lost. How many times has he run for president? 2, 3 times. He's never been successful.
I think he got like 2 or 3% of the vote, and when he ran before, I mean, I remember going to see him speak in D.C. maybe in 2007 or 2008. And he was he was there with he was like in Kucinich territory. It was like, he's one of the kind of also ran joke presidential candidates.
Right. I mean, Obama picked him because he was been around for a long time, and he has this sort of aura of white working, that he appeals to the white working class, regular, normal Joe, and all of that stuff. But he's never been a particularly good politician. He's said crazy things throughout his entire career. And no, we might not care about that anymore, but it's a fact. So I don't know. I think that he might win, but I don't know that he's a shoo-in. I mean, a lot of people think the Democrats are just going to roll over Trump. I just don't. I can't say that after the last election. I just don't believe that it's true anymore. But I don't know why. Who do you think could win other than Biden?
I feel like I still think that they'll go with Warren. I think that they'll excuse her ridiculous lack of policy math, and I think that Elizabeth Warren gives them. They feel like it's a cross between you get a little bit of Biden, a little bit of Bernie, and a little bit of Hillary all in one package.
She really, really hurt herself, right? Just fully jumping all in on the Medicare for all with a plan and everything else. It's like Obama. I don't know if people remember, but he was in for socialized medicine, right? Initially, right? I think, and then he was able to massage those things and change his mind and this and that. But once you have plans on the book, and once you've taken the stand, and you've even explained how you're going to pay for it, etc., it just seems like a really hard position to sort of moderate yourself on. And
are you going to watch the whole thing, by the way? And also, do you think that the debate at this stage even does it matter?
I am 100% not going to watch the debate at all. At all. I'm done. I've seen how many debates have they had already? And they still have 10 candidates up there. It's a waste of time, isn't it?
I think it's too much. I mean, I have to because I got to do the show, and I watch it so that my audience doesn't have to. But like, if I were left to my own devices, no, I already know what all these people think about everything because I've seen them for hours and hours and hours, and I've read the transcripts after I've watched it. It's annoying.
Since the second debate, I'm never watching, and I'm sitting here, and I will probably end up watching some of it. But here's the thing: I don't think these debates matter that much. The last big moment, or the only really big moment, was Tulsi taking out Kamala Harris, right? And I don't know that there'll be another moment like that. So
why do you think they hate Tulsi so much, by the way? Because she has some. She's very left wing, but conservatives like myself are kind of like I kind of like Tulsi, even though I think she's bad on a lot of policy issues. She doesn't strike me as an odious person. Why does the liberal establishment really, even not just the far, why do they hate her so much?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that she is compelling in a way, and her foreign policy views seem not far removed from what they used to be during the Bush administration on the left and so on. So I don't really understand why they're why they hate her so much. My only thought is that they don't think she has a chance, and they feel like she's hurt people's chances who are.
And so she's just playing spoiler, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think she's just not mean enough for her.
She's a Russian asset, so.
Yeah, I really think it's that she doesn't view her role in politics as trying to find to storm the Republican castle, overrun it, and bayonet all the survivors. Well,
that's another thing. She doesn't have orthodox views, right? She was a little more socially conservative. She's willing to say maybe we should impeach the president initially. She's willing to say things I think that grate against the orthodoxy of the Democratic Party. So maybe it's something like that. I don't know. I find her appealing in many ways. She's smart and telegenic, and I think that she thinks through her beliefs and all of that. She serves everything. It seems to me like she would be the kind of candidate that you should be excited about if they're in your party.
I would think so too. But every time I defend Tulsi, people say that I just like Tulsi because.
Well, I remember her visiting Assad and stuff like that, and to me, it's hard to get over that stuff, no matter what her excuses were. So for that reason, I don't really like her, but I think her realist foreign policy and stuff like that is actually pretty popular these days, so I don't really get it.
Yep. All right, everybody. David Harsanyi. David, thanks for giving us so much time, man. Check out his latest at nationalreview.com, and we'll talk to you soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
The House is going to do what the House is going to do, and when they get through, as you all know, it comes over here, displaces all the business, and we'll be on it until senators decide it's time to reach a conclusion. I will repeat what I've said in the past. It's inconceivable to me that there'd be 67 votes to remove the president from office.
Inconceivable to me, too, but Cocaine Mitch don't play. As you know, Cocaine Mitch is going to be the one that oversees that whole thing. I am a little bit frustrated, though, and some others have started to point this out as well. Why is it the case that the Senate Republicans aren't, Senate Republican majority that, for example, runs the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence? Why aren't they calling witnesses? You gotta, if the Democrats are going to abuse the process, you have to use the process to beat them back. You gotta fight fire with fire here. And, having Devin Nunes say, oh, but, we want to enter into the record that these are the witnesses we'd want to have. I get it. I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't do that, but that's not sufficient, obviously. Where is the Senate on this? Where's the testimony under oath from Chalupa and Hunter Biden and other DNC-tied officials, other people that might have some interesting things to say about all this stuff? Just wondering when that's going to happen. I think Republicans, unfortunately, still don't really fully comprehend. A lot of elected Republicans don't really fully comprehend the nature of the left and what they're willing to do. I think they see it, but they haven't really absorbed. They haven't really internalized the lengths that the Democrat left will go to destroy them, and the games that they are willing to play in that whole process. But we shall have to see. By the way, Trump had some things to say about Ambassador Kent that I wanted to play. Would you, producer Mark, would you play 14, please?
I don't know Vindman. I never heard of him. I don't know any of these people other than I have seen one or two a couple of times. They're ambassadors, but these are names that are taught, like Taylor, like Kent with a nice bow tie, wonderful bow tie. Maybe I'll get one for myself someday. I don't know who Kent is. I don't know who Taylor is.
Yet yesterday, Vindman said that he was the president's senior. We didn't do much Vindman today because that was yesterday, and we had Sondland this morning. And this is the impeachment marathon that we're stuck in the middle of. But Vindman did not do well yesterday. I wanted to just return to this for a moment to give you my sense of what happened here. Vindman was not a strong witness for the Democrat cause. He was trying to be. He's clearly a partisan. But when Vindman was up there, there were some moments that did not look good for him. And one of the most important had to do with, first of all, there's a lot of sanctimonious stuff. Like here is Colonel Vindman claiming that he is not a never-Trumper. Play 16. Lieutenant Colonel, by the way.
The day after you appeared for your deposition, Lieutenant Colonel, President Trump called you a never-Trumper. Colonel Vindman, would you call yourself a never-Trumper?
Representative, I'd call myself never partisan.
Never partisan. Interesting. He's a registered Democrat, by the way. Is that a surprise to you? Public records, guy's a registered Democrat. Is that a surprise to anybody? Huh. Oh, no? You mean you kind of knew this guy's a Democrat all along? Oh, wow. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just crazy? There's some other stuff that came up about Mr. Vindman. Jim Jordan, for example, pointed out that there were people, some very squared away, very seasoned national security experts who felt like this Vindman guy, there were some issues there. 15, please.
Your boss had concerns about your judgment. Your former boss, Dr. Hill, had concerns about your judgment. Your colleagues had concerns about your judgment. And your colleagues felt that there were times when you leaked information. Any idea why they have those impressions, Colonel Vindman?
Yes, Representative Jordan. I guess I'll start by reading Dr. Hill's own words, as she attested to in my last evaluation that was dated middle of July, right before she left. Alex is a top 1% military officer and the best Army officer I've worked with in my 15 years of government service.
It's like, I'm amazing. I'm never partisan. Call me Lieutenant Colonel or else. This guy, did not do himself a lot of favors in the presentation that the Democrats were trying to put on yesterday. And the worst part for him was actually, I don't even know if we have this clip, but I'll just tell you what happened. When he was asked about who he talked to after the phone call between Trump and Zelensky, he said, "Oh, well, I didn't tell my superior because I was so busy." And then Jim Jordan pushed him more and got him to admit, "Well, you didn't talk to your superior officer, but you did go to see a lawyer, NSC lawyer who I believe is his brother. And you also did go to see a person that the Democrats claim we can't know who it is because we're all supposed to pretend we're a bunch of idiots and don't know that the other person he told is the whistleblower, and the whistleblower's name, from what we are told, is Eric Sharamella, who was working at the NSC and who loves Biden and is a leftist and hates Trump." This is like the reality of the world that we're in, but it is to be denied. It is to be obscured, to be pushed aside in favor of this nonsense. There's just bizarro, crazy town stuff that we're supposed to just pretend we don't know what we know. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. I'm not okay with that. So that's why I tell you about the things that I do. By the way, there's some very strong witnesses that appeared for Trump in this whole thing, like Ambassador Volker, for example. Just would you please play clip 2 here?
At no time was I aware of or knowingly took part in an effort to urge Ukraine to investigate former Vice President Biden. I was not on the July 25th phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky. I was not made aware of any reference to Vice President Biden or his son by President Trump until the transcript of that call was released on September 25th.
So here you have a guy who is the envoy for Ukraine or special envoy for Ukraine, some form of ambassador. There's a lot of ambassadorial titles floating around these days. He is not aware of this situation. How is it possible that this guy's working so closely on this? And it's so clear. I mean, Sondland's saying today everybody was in the loop. Apparently Volker wasn't in the loop. And how seriously can we take the demand that supposedly existed from the president to do a thing if people that would have had to know about the demand to help push it didn't even know about it? It's just all a big circle, folks. It's just nonsense. This Democrat impeachment thing is a self-licking ice cream cone. They make all these accusations. Oh, they get all spun up, and then it kind of falls apart. But the media goes, "Oh, my gosh, look at this thing." It's a sham. It's a scam. And really, it's a travesty because the whole country has to waste so much time on this one. And I just wish there were other things worthy of discussion. Oh, by the way, I haven't even talked to you about what I think about the Democrats tonight. What I think is going to happen with the Democrat debate. Although Harsanyi and I kind of trashed the whole notion of the need to watch it. I'll watch it so you don't have to. That's one of the promises that I make here for you in the Freedom Hut, that you don't have to waste your time because I'll tell you what happens. All right, so the Democrat debate tonight, Buck style, telling you about what I think's really going on here because the buck never stops. Here's what we got. To qualify for this one, candidates had to receive at least 3% in 4 DNC-approved polls, donations from at least 165,000 supporters, blah, 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 blah. All right, here's what we got for the candidates. Klobuchar, Booker, Buttigieg, Sanders, Biden, Warren, Harris, Yang, Gabbard, Steyer. Castro didn't get the required numbers, and as we know, Beto O'Rourke just totally is not running for president anymore. He was born to do it, so I guess he's been unborn because he is not going to be president, and I just don't know. Let's see what we have here. Going to have to be a big night, I think, or rather, they're going to try to make this a big night. The media, to make this an interesting story, they want to push for Buttigieg. A lot of them want to push for Buttigieg. Andrew Yang, I got to say, I like Yang, I like Gabbard. You all know that. I'm honest with you about it. I tell you if I had to, here, producer Mark, actually, let's get you onto this one. if you have to vote, forget about. I mean, I asked you who the worst was, and you're good on that because you said De Blasio, which might have even been better than my answer, which was Beto, because I think De Blasio is the worst.
De Blasio is still the worst, even though he's not in the race.
Even in the race.
Yeah,
He's still the worst. I totally agree. But if you had to vote for one of these candidates that I named, if you have to, I'm making you.
Sure.
Gun to your head. Who is it?
I'd say Andrew Yang. I like it. I want to say I'm a member of the Yang gang.
You know, he's interesting. I would probably at the end of the day say Gabbard, but I want Yang to be his Veep. Again, I'm not voting for a Democrat. I'm just saying if we had to. And on this list, I think the worst for me, we do best and worst here. I think the worst. This is actually not easy. I go the worst is Kamala Harris. I think Kamala Harris is the worst because the media tried so hard to just make Kamala Harris a big political thing, and it's just not happening. Who do you go?
See, I want to say Bernie Sanders just because you and Larry David has ruined him for me. I can't take him seriously at all.
That's true. Yeah.
He could just say, I love puppies, and I can't take him seriously because of the voices.
We're going to have a free puppy program. Everybody's going to get a puppy. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to get the puppies, and they're going to share them with other people. It's going to be communal puppies.
You know what? I take it back. If he does that, I will vote for him.
Well, actually, that's actually a great plan. That's a platform that I could get behind, too. Because I want a puppy. I just don't want to have to take care of it all the time. So if it was a communal puppy, that would be, well, you're getting married soon. You know what happens? Baby or puppy? Got to make your pick, dude.
Puppy,
yeah. See,
puppy can't talk back to me.
Yeah, that's true. Klobuchar, I got to say, I think is, she's an interesting candidate for the Democrats because she's from the Midwest and female. And Booker, he's just in this still because the media likes him. I mean, the media likes Cory Booker, and so Cory Booker gets to continue to be running for president, even though I don't think anybody believes he's going to win anything, including the primary. Joe Biden still in the mix here. Former Vice President Joe Biden. Wouldn't we call him Senator Joe Biden? Former Vice President Joe Biden. I list him here. Well, anyway. So I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of change tonight from what you're used to seeing. I'll have a bunch of Democrats who come out and say, like, blah, 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 socialism, more spending, big government, free stuff, free college, free health care. Trump is Hitler. Country's going to go to hell. Climate change is going to kill all of us unless you vote for Democrats. That's it, really. I mean, I feel like do I even have to watch the debate? We've established already what the main thrust will be. I do think that the most damaging position the Democrats hold now for general election purposes, and we'll see how much this gets attention tonight. People don't talk about immigration as much right now as they had been. The border crisis has died down a little bit. Oh, a fascinating thing happened. I think it was in AFP, Agence France Presse, or Agence France Presse. I don't know, however you were supposed to say that. AFP did this story on a UN analysis of all the children that were in custody at our southern border. And it was a horrifying moment, right? Because, oh my gosh, Trump, kids in cages, all this really, really bad stuff. And it turned out that the analysis the UN did was from the kids, quote, in cages from the Obama administration, 2015. Whoops. But you would think, hold on a second, why is that now no longer a story? It's an analysis of what had happened because AFP pulled it. So they put out a story based on an analysis, UN analysis of children being held at the southern border in detention as they're being processed to be let into this country, by the way, and which they all were let into the country. And because it turns out that it didn't happen while Trump was president, it's no longer a story. It would be hard to find, in some ways, a more pure distillation of mainstream media bias. Bad thing happens under Trump, story, run with it. Same bad thing happened, but happened under Obama before Trump is president. Pull the story, delete it, pretend it never happened on the internet. It was a stunning situation, honestly. Anyway, it is what it is, my friends. Here we go. Study on UN child detention. Let's see if I make sure. I think I got the right. I hate being wrong. I'm so rarely wrong, though. Let's see what we get here. It was Reuters. I'm sorry. It was a Reuters story. I think I said AFP. It's Reuters. My bad. A November 18 story headlined, U.S. has world's highest rate of children in detention. UN study is withdrawn. The United Nations issued a statement on November 19th saying the number was not current but was for the year 2015. No replacement story will be issued. Reuters, one of the biggest news organizations in the world. Oh, it's not a story anymore because it happened when Obama was president. That pretty much describes for you the way the media approaches everything. It's only a story. If a bad thing happens, if it's while Trump is president, it's a story. If it was while Obama was president, it's no longer a story. And they wonder why we all cheer and laugh when they call it fake, when Trump calls it fake news. Because they are a bunch of fakers, a bunch of frauds, hacks. I will continue on this. I will continue beating this drum until the day I die. If I, stop doing media tomorrow and I was just running a hot dog stand somewhere, probably leading a very nice life of a humble but striving capitalist and enjoying myself, I would still, anybody who would listen, be ranting and raving about how fraudulent the news media has become and what a bunch of totally partisan hacks they are. And the worst part is they run around, strutting about and acting like they're so brave and they speak truth to power. It's complete nonsense. Yes, indeed. You know what's not nonsense, though? Roll call, for which it is now time.
It's time for roll call.
Roll call. Team Buck at iHeartMedia.com or Facebook.com/Buck Sexton. Let's get to emails because we didn't do emails yesterday. Gary kicks off the noise. Buck and producer Mark, you are absolutely the best. Thank you so much for adding email. I'm one of the 12 people that have never used Facebook. Regarding President Swalwell's gastric indiscretion, Mike Rowe has an excellent short 10-minute podcast episode that is 100% related and reveals the source of the name of a popular host on The View. Huh? Okay, I don't know what that's all about. But thank you, my friend, for writing in and saying nice things about me and producer Mark. Gina! Hey, Buck, someone needs to take a picture of both Fox News and CNN. Just how CNN words and captions. Breaking news. Sondland ties Trump, Pence, Pompeo to Ukraine pressure campaign. Totally false. Look, there's a lot of headline writing that goes on that is not objective. Headlines are tough because you got to grab somebody, and so to write purely objective headlines is never going to be really something that happens, but I think there are limits of it, and But you'll see the headlines. All you have to do anytime you want is just, if you have on your computer, just go to the foxnews.com site and go to cnn.com and just see the way that CNN talks about the way Fox talks about it. I mean, the different points of view watching the same thing. Steve. Hey, Buck. Shields high from the live free or die state of New Hampshire. I'm a Real News longtime supporter of Team Buck. I just posted to Jack Ryan TV series, the post below. You ask, I delivered. See the post below. Season 2, really? That's your narrative you're trying to sell to the fans, that social justice whiners are going to save a country like Venezuela? Who does your research? Maybe if you want Season 3 to be something appealing to your true fans, rather than appealing to woke snowflakes, you might want to get advice from former CIA analyst Buck Sexton to provide more sound direction. I love Krasinski in the role, but Season 2 was tough to watch. All right, man. Shields high. Thank you so much, Steve. I don't know if that's going to get Netflix or whatever or Amazon, rather, to put me in the role, but I'm sorry, not in the role. I'm not trying to take Krasinski. That guy's very tall, very handsome. But to help with the writing behind the scenes would be good. Steve. Wait, no, we already did Steve. Robert. Okay, nope, that was a link. Anna. Hey, Buck. I just want to tell you how much I enjoy your podcast, which I started downloading years ago when I first saw your commentary on Fox News. You are so knowledgeable for one so young, insightful, and have a soothing voice. Your impressions are hilarious. I will miss your Beto, and your Bernie is perfect. Your Warren is rapidly improving, but I wish you would do Amy Klobuchar, who should be easy to do with her nasally voice. regarding impressions, have you seen Tom Shalhoub play Shifty Schiff on Greg Gutfeld's show on Saturday night? Shalhoub is perfect for that part. I like to watch the star millennial on our side, Elise Stefanik, stand up to Shifty at the idiotic impeachment inquisitions. I've been impressed with Stefanik ever since she was the one who got Sancticomey to admit he did not advise Congress of the existing Trump investigations, et cetera, et cetera. Finally, about the debate over the tech issues with your podcast, yes, the problem was really bad a few months ago. Keep up the high-quality program, and I'd be thrilled to hear Shields High again. What was the name of the history show? And I can't forget Producer Mark. I like to hear the banter between you guys. Thanks for providing your email. Thanks for the feedback. Best regards, Anna. All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. James. Hold on. It's got to load. Why is the internet in here so slow? All right. That's a very long email. I don't have time for that one right now. Kent on Vinman. He started to say office of before he was cut off. There's only so many in the IC. Office of what? Thanks, Shields High on Vinman. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that if you're telling me that happened, then I believe that could have happened. All right, now we're going to switch to the Facebook inbox, which is always fun. And Edward writes, Men at Work is much better as a movie than Young Guns. Ah, I see Edward taking producer Mark's part in this dispute. That will be remembered. Blocked and reported, sir. Let's see what else we got in here. TJ, Buck, I'm not making excuses for Trump. There's no doubt he needs to do what he can to get the spending under control. But how much of this out-of-control spending is bureaucratic protest against him, do you think? I don't mean to be conspiratorial, but I can't help but think that an overwhelming majority of the federal government workers are Democrats who are taking their own liberties to maximize their allowable spending every month. And unfortunately, short of shutting down the government, there's not much Trump can do to cut this deep state spending. Interesting. I mean, presidents can only do so much with the budget and with spending. That's true. How much are we going to blame Trump for this one? I don't know. But let's be careful about never blaming Trump for anything, right? I mean, that's why I think sometimes I just have to remind you guys he picks really bad people, because I think it's important for us to establish that there are some things that we just need to be honest that Trump is failing on or that he's not doing a good job of. We can't always say, well, it's really hard. Yeah, well, he took the job. That was going to be a really hard job. You know, he did say they were going to build a wall, which they are now gearing up, it seems, in this last year of his first term to really build wall. Hundreds of miles of wall. So that would be very interesting. And by the way, he builds hundreds of miles of wall, he wins re-election, no question in my mind. No question. Not even close. Carl, Shields High. As always, excellent work on the show. I recommended the show to a friend recently, and now he's a daily listener. Thank you, Carl. I think the more people that hear about the show and give it a listen, the more people are going to keep listening every day to the show. We are very confident of that. A critique I'm surprised has not been aimed at Bernie is, must have been nice not waiting for the necessary diagnosis treatment of his recent heart attack. No lines, no delays, no waiting list, top-notch congressional care. And he thinks when we add 300 million more Americans, this is going to improve quality and access. That's nuts. Well, you're right about if we do Medicare for all, if all of a sudden everybody is put into the same system. By the way, it will never be everybody in the same system because there will always be people that have enough resources to pay for a private sector or private market health care. And that's the case in Canada. It's the case in the UK. We always hear about, government health care. Yet a lot of the people who can afford it pay for private health care outside the government sector. Why do we think they do that? Because they like throwing away money? Or because the government health care is crappy? I don't know. That's a real thinker. Got to think on that one a little bit. Let's see here. Rick Buck, listen via podcast here in Idaho near the Canadian border. As a FedEx courier, wanted to weigh in on a recent article in the Times. I received a raise as soon as the Trump tax cut went into effect, and over $1 billion was added to fund our pension. Aircraft and trucks were replaced with more efficient ones, fuel-efficient ones. all public knowledge. Hashtag fake news. Also, Men at Work come from a land down under where women glow and men plunder. Love the show. Don't take calls. Told my daughter about you. She says you look like Eric Foreman from that 70s show. Just watched Loaded Weapon with Emilio Estevez. Better than the Ducks. Oh, yeah. Boomer Sooner. Watch Far and Away. Okay, history. Shields high.
Blocked and reported.
There we go. That's going to be it for the show today, team. Always, always an honor and a privilege. Shields high.